Is the prophecy true, and is Pope Francis the last pope? Technically, yes, and let me explain. Before you start bugging out, there's going to be some debunking here. Where does this idea come from? There's a prophecy called the Prophecy of Popes, and allegedly it was written by Saint Malachi in 1143. He predicted the end of every pope, the last pope being Peter of Rome, who reigns during a very tumultuous time in Christianity, and at the end of his reign, the world ends. Rome and the church fall. There's only one small problem with this prophecy. Malachi wrote it, lived his entire life, no one spoke about it again, until 450 years later, when this guy, Arnold de Wionne, found the prophecy and wrote about it. But it's a little strange that the biographer of Saint Malachi, who followed him around and wrote down every detail of his life, knew nothing about the prophecy. Neither did the church. No one knew anything about the prophecy until Arnold de Wionne, the Benedictine monk with all of the answers. I won't read the whole prophecy, but basically it says that the last pope will lead his flock through tribulations, and then after that, Rome and the church will fall upon his passing. So, other than the fact that no one's talked about this for 450 years, there's another problem with the prophecy surfacing at this point. Because you see, what Arnold had been writing benefited Girolamo Simoncelli, who was a papal hopeful at the time. He wanted to be pope, and best buddy to Benedictine monk Arnold de Wionne. Arnold wrote this propaganda to help get his friend elected in a very tight election. So it's not a prophecy, it was a campaign strategy. A pretty good one. The words in the document were so scary that they tried to use the document to point to the direction of Simoncelli to become the next pope. Trust me, this is not the first time that something like this has happened. So another thing that's a little bit odd about this particular prophecy, if we're looking at the one that was written in 1143. So before 1590, all of the popes were correct. He did correctly state which popes were going to pass away. After that, it's way too vague. It's almost not correct. Two other problems I have with it. One, that historians cannot authenticate the history of this document, or that it was ever actually written by Saint Malachi, because he didn't mention it, nobody mentioned it, and it was just lost for 450 years and then found. The other problem I have is that the Vatican and their scholars do not believe in this prophecy. They do not talk about this prophecy. It is not church teaching, and it is not scripture. I would love to believe that this is a 16th century hoax propagated by this Benedictine monk that lingers today. So don't be scared. Just have faith. So spooky.